Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Marlon Beauchamp getting drafted to the Rockets because, as we've kind of learned in the last couple of years, guys like Shams, Woj, other reporters, journalists, or what have you, they kind of start saying who's drafting who before the draft actually starts. If you're like live feeding your screen with Woj and Shams, the draft pick is usually picked, or they usually tweet who's getting drafted before the pick actually comes in. So apparently the Rockets are going to be drafting Marlon Beauchamp. This is very interesting to me. All right, this is a very interesting pick. I like Marlon. I think he's perfect for the Houston Rockets. It presents a lot of issues for me as far as Jae'Sean Tate's future goes with Houston. I wouldn't be surprised if you found Jae'Sean Tate in the same trade of Eric Gordon. If Eric Gordon gets traded, I would not say I'm surprised one bit if Jae'Sean Tate will be in that. Because the thing with Marlon is he can't stretch the floor. So he's from the G League Ignite. He's 21 years old, 200 pounds. He's got an over 7-foot wingspan. He's 6'6". Played for G League Ignite this last year, 24 games, 15 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, 2 assists, less than 2 turnovers, about 0.8 blocks, 1.5 steals, 51% from the field, and then 27.3% from downtown. So Marlon's a really interesting prospect because basically right after high school, he decided to train for the NBA. And then just like that, COVID hits. So he has no team to play for. So what does he do? He actually goes to Yakima Valley. He's from Seattle, or I don't know actually if Yakima's near Seattle. But he's from Washington, and so he goes to a hometown community college. And he puts up 30 points per game, 10.5 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, the stats are just crazy. They're through the roof. But he said at one point he wanted to quit basketball, or thought about quitting, not wanted to, thought about quitting, thought about giving it up. Well, luckily, thankfully for him, what is this guy's name? I can't think of it off the top of my head. Damn, it's like Rod Strickland with the G League Ignite has some connects there, sees him and sees the work ethic, and that's ends up playing for the G League Ignite team. So he's a phenomenal athlete, and he really excels defensively. So the three-point shooting, the shooting in general, I've been seeing that there's some hope that he can turn into somewhat of a consistent pull-up jumper. But if you watch a film on him, especially when he's on offense shooting jump shots, especially his misses, it's just really inconsistent. He's got a very mechanically inconsistent shot that it seems like he just doesn't fully trust. But he takes a lot of pride in keeping his defenders in front of him. So that's my thing with Marlon, is he reminds me almost of Jae'Sean Tate. He just happens to be 5 years younger than Jae'Sean. Like I said, I don't want to get too much into Jae'Sean and Marlon being on the same team. I don't really want to talk about that quite yet until it actually happens, and then we can have a discussion, because at this point it is just speculation. These are, I guess, technically hypotheticals, although my money is on the Rockets drafting Marlon. He's a really interesting prospect. He has a lot of offensive limitations. Like I said, the shooting isn't great, but he's a solid finisher. He almost reminds me similarly of what I was hearing about Jonathan Kuminga from G League Ignite last season. And look at Jonathan Kuminga, got picked number 7 to Golden State, and there is a lot of hype. There's a lot of potential around Kuminga. The thing is with Marlon, he's a good scorer. I don't know if he'd be a day one starter, but his work ethic, everything he's been through, him as a person, his defensive tenacity, his defensive skill, I just know that if the Rockets were to draft this guy, he fits into the culture that we're trying to develop. We're trying, Silas, Stone, they want to get better on defense. We're sick of being just kind of not lapsy-daisy, but last year we saw guys like Dwight Powell put up record career highs, Dwight Powell's dropping 30 bombs on Christian Wood last season. So we need to get better on the defensive end. Jae'Sean Tate, kind of the way I view it, is he's our best defensive starter. Marlon Beauchamp would definitely help reset the culture, getting more towards defense. And the good news is this: he put up 15 points per game, so he's not totally trash as far as scoring the basketball goes. Being a good finisher that he is, he really excels in transition. And so that is music to my ears, because we know the Rockets love to run. That's one of my favorite ways of playing basketball in general, is just run them off the court, dude. get in good shape. We're extremely young. We got Kevin Porter Jr. We have Jalen Green. We're extremely young. We're extremely athletic. Jacob, just run them off the court. And once that kind of finally hit for Houston, once Silas started putting out lineups that were just going to run, once we got rid of Daniel Tice, that whole thing, once Eric Gordon started hitting the bench and didn't play, that's when you saw the Rockets really start to thrive in transition. And so Marlon, I know he would at least be able to find some ways to become a low double-digit scorer right out of the get-go because of his finishing ability and his transition offense. Defensively, this is why I'm drafting him, though. Offensively, there is some hope there. He's got a great wingspan, but like I said, man, everything is just issues as far as consistency on offense. But defensively, good job cutting off angles, good job on closeouts, good job contesting, just doesn't want you to get in front of him. He uses his body, 200-pound body, he uses his chest to kind of absorb pressure both on offense and on the defensive end, but you really see it on defense where you'll see someone, maybe a guard or what have you, come into the paint. He's going to use his body and just stay in front of him. So I think he is kind of right on par with the way the NBA is headed towards, where you have these not necessarily positionless players, but guys who can do positionless players, essentially. Guys who can play a couple of different positions, guys who can do a couple of different things and can most importantly guard several positions. So at 6'6", 200 pounds with a 7-foot wingspan, he's going to be able to play probably shooting guard, small forward, and power forward, and he's definitely going to be able to guard wings and guards. So this is a all-around, this is somebody you kind of pick at the end of the first round. We saw this with Jacob last season where the potential is there. They're a little bit of a risk. They're a little bit of flyers. Think of Usman Garuba. I think of Jacob. Jacob wasn't anticipated to have the season he did last year. Even though Christopher's three-point percentage was I think around 29.7, 29.8, he was a horrible three-point shooter in college. He was awful at it. He was more known as a finisher. And if I think back to Jacob last season, I actually had, although his percentages would disagree with this statement, I actually didn't really have any issues with three-point shooting. He's a little bit more of a streaky, inconsistent shooter, but when he was hitting, and he's not a player you want to leave open. Even if he's shooting 30%, you don't want to leave him open. So Marlon took less than three threes per game last season, but who knows? With a good summer of work and training and coming on to Houston, working with our shooting coaches, who knows, maybe if he can just get upwards of 30% three-point shooting, I don't think anyone would really complain with the draft of Marlon Beauchamp. So let me know what you guys think. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit the like button, hit that sub button, friendly reminder. I will be live on my main channel, Will Upton, at about 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, somewhere around there, until the Rockets make their selection. Then I'll be making my video, and we'll probably do a post-draft live stream once it's all over. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, check out my daily live NBA show. Ton of you guys came in today. We had over 130 views in the first, during we were live. So I appreciate all the love you guys have been showing me, for real. And let's have a good draft, bro. Peace.